Don't play with it, don't be dishonest. Still.
Yo, guys, welcome back to the Hands Down podcast. I'm gonna start up by saying I'm sorry. I've been gone. I've been terrible. I want to get better at this. I committed to coming back, and then I didn't post. Same with my TikTok, social media. My problem is I'm a perfectionist, and I want the product to be so good, but I don't have the necessary things for it to be as good as I want. But I still want to post, but then I get upset with my product. However, I'm gonna continue to post. I can't say I'm gonna post as much on YouTube. There's a lot of time and effort that it goes into YouTube. I have a full-time job, obviously. I do want to come on here, and I do want to post on YouTube when there's things like this. Today, we're going to get into the NBA trade deadline, and then we're going to talk about the Utah Jazz. They made a big trade for Jaren Jackson Jr. Triple J is an SLC. I'm lit, so happy. But I did want to get on here and apologize to you guys as an audience first and foremost, because I have failed you as an audience, and I just apologize for that. I can do better. I am going to do better. # hold me accountable. But just know that it's more going to be on my TikTok. TikTok is going to be where you're going to see a lot of my content, reactions. And then because of how it is with YouTube, I want to ease into the flow. I don't want to have to put out content that I'm not proud of. And I felt like when I was doing weekly or even the bi-weekly, there's just sometimes that I'm putting out product or putting out content, or I'm going and making that content, and it wasn't worth my while because it wasn't a good product. I don't want to go waste my time. If I'm putting something out, it's not going to be worth you guys' while. So the YouTube videos I do, they're going to be 20 to 30 minutes, maybe a little bit longer on those, but they're going to be a variety. There might be a couple here and there. There might be, baseball's coming up. Depending on how good the Braves do, I obviously want to talk about the Braves a lot. I can't make a strong commitment to YouTube because, like I said, there's a lot of time-consuming things into that. But what I can make a commitment is to TikTok and reactions and just living life. And then obviously I want to interact with you guys, get you guys' comments as well. So let me know those. But super excited to be back. As you guys can see, I changed up a couple things. I'm a Saints fan, as y'all know. Tyler Shuck had a really good year this year, actually. I'm happy as a Saints fan, It was a bad year, but there was some good things to be happy about. Dude, look at this. Got a Black Panther, a little Funko Pop. That's lit. I like that. But I definitely do like my new setup. I brought back my thing back there. But it's a good vibe. This year I made a commitment and I made a goal. I made a vision board, and my vision board was to live life more, and it was to post 5 times on TikTok, and then it was obviously, I had some financial goals in there, and then it was my podcast and YouTube and stuff like that. And then my health. Mental health is obviously a big one. I've been very vocal about that. And then also, I just want to get my body right when it comes to eating healthy. That's really important. And then also taking that time to I felt like this past year I spent a lot of time in my room, and that's not a bad thing. But sometimes when you isolate yourself in your room too much, you get too much time to think. Time to think is not the greatest thing for me sometimes. So I want to be able to get out more, but also I'm okay with isolating myself in my room if I'm recording content or if I'm doing shit like this. So super excited. But the reason I'm also sharing this stuff with you guys is because I want to have people hold me accountable, and I'm also just ready to have a fun year. I want to interact with you guys. Like I said, that's obviously probably going to be a lot more through TikTok. Like I said, I want to live. I'm super excited to not isolate myself and play video games this year, but instead isolate myself into hobbies, into more content. I'm going out and adventuring. Guys, guess what? Also, I'm going to Arizona this year. I'm going to go to a Braves game. So if y'all don't know, my 3 favorite teams are, for football, the New Orleans Saints. For basketball, I'm a Utah Jazz fan. You can see, oh wait, let me move my head. There's the thing I have right there. A Jazz fan, and by the way, we just got Triple J if y'all didn't know. And then I'm a Braves fan. My brother made me the coolest picture ever. That's Hank Aaron. Best baseball player of all time. Better than Barry Bonds because he did not use those PEDs. I said what I said. Come at me. But I'm super excited for that. I'm going with my dad this year. It's going to be a great time. I haven't gone to a baseball game it's been 12 years now. Last time I went was 2014. So going on 12 years, a Major League Baseball game, that is. And the Braves are my favorite team. Never watched my favorite team play baseball. So going to go to Arizona, watch them this year. Super stoked for that. But y'all, I had to get on here. Talk about the NBA trade deadline. Specifically, I'm gonna make this video. See, this is what I'm talking about now. So at some time that I have some content, and I could board y'all, and I could go crazy, and I could talk about all the NBA trades, and I could talk about the Jazz, and I could probably make that an hour. But y'all probably don't want that. So what I'm gonna do in this video is we're gonna talk about the Jazz, and then I'm probably gonna make another video, and it will be about the NBA trade deadline. So guys, let's talk about the Utah Jazz for a second, okay? We have been irrelevant ever since we traded Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, right? It was very frustrating as a Jazz fan when we traded them because, yes, I know obviously it didn't work out with Mitchell and Gobert, and we had the one year where we was the 1 seed, the best offense in the league, a really good defense, and then we just plummeted. Gobert got exposed in the playoffs, right? Mitchell couldn't carry the load, pause. And then the second year, similar things. Gobert got exposed defensively. And I understood tearing it up and going for the rebuild. But it's just so hard to watch a rebuild. Specifically, also, like, let's come into my mind for a second. Jazz fan, rebuilding. Saints fan, rebuilding. Braves fan, generally we're good, but fucking we were ass cheeks last year. Holy shit, that was something. But hey, you know, that's life. But looking at our team, I mean, we got Lauri Markkanen, and that was a great trade piece to get out of the Donovan Mitchell one. And then we got Walker Kessler. That was like the trade piece that we got for the Rudy Gobert, right? And then the 4 future first round picks. And Walker Kessler, I mean, going on it, obviously we have to pay him. He's hitting restricted free agency this year. But I mean, I like the fit of having Walker Kessler and our new team. Defensively, I think he's just as good as Gobert was, and then he's a little bit better offensively in the stance that I trust Walker Kessler when he holds the ball. I don't trust Rudy Gobert when he held the ball. But getting back to the point though, over the years, we've seen the Jazz, Lauri Markkanen, have a really good year where he broke out to be an all-star, right? We're like, okay, cool. And then we had Keyonte George kind of pop off this year. We've found our guard of the future, right? But it's just been so tough to watch because the Thunder own our pick this year. It's top 8 protected, right? But it's been so frustrating because we kind of don't have the luxury to win. If we win out, the Thunder get our pick, so it doesn't really make sense to win. And we are coming into a loaded draft class, mind you. We have a Cam Boozer in this draft class. We have an AJ DeBonce in this draft class. We have a Darren Peterson in this draft class. That's 3 certified dogs in this draft class. Like, we, in this sense, need to keep this lottery pick. And if it goes to the Thunder, who, mind you, own the Clippers pick, who just sold at the deadline, it's going to be crazy. But going back to that, it's been tough watching Jazz games because we don't have a product out there worth watching. We're like, as a Jazz fan, I would always go to 1 game, 2 games, if not 3 games a year to always watch my team, and it'd be a competitive atmosphere, right? Past 2 or 3 years, I've gone to 2 games. And the games I go to is when it's against another fun team where I get to go watch for instance, I went and I watched the Clippers. It was an all right game, but I got to go see James Harden, who I've never seen, and Kawhi Leonard. And that's kind of what it's been over the past couple of years, is just going to see players I haven't saw because the Jazz aren't putting out a product that is worth my time, that is worth my money to go pay a ticket and go up there. I mean, heck, last year I went, no, it wasn't last year. Not last year, but the year before, I went to a game where it's supposed to be against the Timberwolves. As we're driving up there, we get a notification that Anthony Edwards wasn't going to play, and we're like, okay, bro. And then Gobert, I'm pretty sure, didn't play. Julius Randle didn't even play. Who's on the Timberwolves with those? Like, Jaden McDaniels played and whatnot. And then on the Jazz, Lauri Markkanen didn't play that game. Walker Kessler didn't play that game. Thankfully, Keyonte George played that game, so it was fun to be able to watch Keyonte George at that time. But, like, it was just an interesting game. And years ago, I went and saw the Lakers, right? So stoked to see LeBron, right? Bum ass was on the bench, bro. It was back when they had Westbrook and whatnot. So, like, we're talking years ago, right? But, dude, LeBron was on the bench. Like, and literally, as we were driving to Salt Lake, like, I'm pretty sure we was passing Orem, is when I got the notification LeBron James isn't playing tonight. And I was just like, dude, like, I just spent $100 on tickets tonight, and I don't even get to see LeBron play. Like, that's kind of gay, bro. And it's been that way where I'm like, I don't, like, obviously I want to watch the Jazz. They're my favorite team, and I'm going to support them as a fan, you know. But I'm like, I'm not going to go put in my hard-earned money for tickets when it's not worth my while. But then I'm playing. It was funny. It was actually, I remember exactly what I was doing. I was listening to music on my speaker. I was playing MLB The Show on my TV, and then I was watching the new show that came out on Wonder Man. I was watching Wonder Man on my other TV, and I get a notification from Underdog Fantasy of all. That was the first one that leaked. Underdog Fantasy, Jaren Jackson Jr. has been traded to the Jazz. That's all I got. Now I was like, hold on, I think I just said that said Jaren Jackson Jr. was traded to the Jazz. I look at it again, and sure enough, it said Jaren Jackson Jr. was traded to the Jazz, and I'm like, holy shit. Okay, we had to have traded Lauri Markkanen, right? He just got paid. He's on a $200 million contract. I'm like, contractually, did we do a swap, Markkanen for Jackson? But I'm like, okay, what sense does that make? I'm like, that doesn't really make sense. So I'm thinking, okay. And then I get the notification that it was 3 first-round picks, and it was kind of like a salary dump. And I was like, okay, 3 first-round picks, salary dump. I was like, what kind of salaries did we get rid of, right? And then it hit Taylor Hendricks, Kyle Anderson, Georges Niang, and then Walter Clayton, and 3 first-round picks. Those 3 first-round picks is the most favorable 2027 pick between the Jazz, Timberwolves, and the Cavaliers. The Lakers 2027 first-round pick, top 4 protected. And then this was the juicy one where the Grizzlies were kind of like, okay, you know what, we will put the trigger on it. It is the Suns 2031 first-round pick, unprotected. Mind you, though, I'm okay with giving out that pick unprotected because you want to know how we got that pick last year? We gave like the Suns 3 first-round picks, but like late first, like it's gonna be like conveyed to seconds first-round picks to get their unprotected pick. Like we are only giving, then we're giving out obviously the Lakers pick away. So the only pick we're really giving away, our pick as in the most favorable of the 2027 between Jazz, T-Wolves, and Cavaliers, which that will be the T-Wolves, Cavaliers, both our playoff teams. It's not going to convey too much anything, right? And then next year, assuming we're a playoff team, that's going to be outside the lottery pick unless we're ass cheeks and it's a lottery pick. Okay, then the Grizzlies got a lottery pick next year, and then you get that Suns pick, and maybe we're the dummies, right? That's kind of the shot. That's the shot though that Danny Ainge needed to take though. I love this shot. It's great. And then you look at the size of our team now, and the reason I say the size of our team is because a lot of people say that, oh, we might move on from Jaren Jackson, or we might not bring back Walker Kessler now. I strongly disagree. Look at the way of the NBA. It is going back to traditional NBA. Look at the Spurs. You have Victor Wembanyama and Luke Kornet as 2 bigs playing, and it's working for them. Hell, look at the Houston Rockets. They ran out a lineup of, it was Amin Thompson at the 1, Tari Eason at the 2, Kevin Durant, Jabari Smith, and Steven Adams. That is a tall-ass lineup. Like, how are you going to defend that? And that's what teams have come to. Even the Thunder, they got Shea, who's 6 feet. You got Chet. You got Isaiah Hartenstein. Obviously, J-Dub's a little bit shorter in that sense. But, like, that's a bigger team. The NBA is gearing towards big size. Pause. But it's gearing towards that, right? The Jazz saw that. Obviously, we have Lauri Markkanen, who, and I saw this guy came off the other day. Maybe I shouldn't shit talk him because I forgot his name, but his take was crazy. He was talking about how Lauri Markkanen he's going to play at the 4, Jaren Jackson's going to play at the 5, and how we shouldn't retain Walker Kessler and we should go out Keontae George. And I could not disagree more. And here's my reason why. This trade allows the Jazz to continue to play Lauri Markkanen at the 3, which, by the way, Lauri Markkanen broke out and had his best year with Cleveland as a 3, right? And then when Utah exemplified that and continued to realize, okay, hey, you can be a 4, but you probably better as a 3, had an all-star year. Mind you that Lauri Markkanen plays his best basketball when he is a 3. We can use him as a stretch 4, and that's what makes him so good, but he plays his best basketball as a 3. Jaren Jackson Jr. plays his best basketball when Zach Edey was on the court. Jaren Jackson Jr. played his best basketball when he was able to move around and roam and be the 4. Jaren Jackson Jr. plays his best basketball when he is with another big. Jaren Jackson Jr. does not play good basketball when he is a small ball 5. He can be that small ball 5, stretch 5 if we need to, but he is not. That is not his fundamental game. His fundamental game is when you have a Zach Edey or when you have a Walker Kessler rim protector and Jaren Jackson can go guard your best defender, and then he also can have a rim protector behind him, and then offensively it opens up his game. Oh, mind you, he also can shoot the 3. Maybe not the best at it, but he can shoot the 3. So this allows you to open up Lauri Markkanen's game as the 3 and Jaren Jackson's game as the 4 with Walker Kessler at the 5. Mind you, that's what, 7'1", 6'10", 6'11"? That's also a big-ass lineup. And then you have Keontae George, who's 6'1". And then you have the speculation of, okay, do we go next year within Ace Bailey at the 2? He's super young, still learning a lot this year, obviously. And then if we retain our top lottery pick, we have a Cam Boozer in this draft class. If Okay, let me get. I personally want Cam Boozer in this draft class. I think the Boozer, obviously Carlos Boozer being in Utah, and then having Cam Boozer in Utah, I think that would be lit. But fit wise, I get where this guy's maybe coming. If you get Cam Boozer, because then you put Jaren at the 5, Cam Boozer at the 4, and then Lowry at the 3, and you keep it that way. But I think we're going to bring back Kessler. The only chance we don't bring back Kessler is, obviously, I know his team has a number in mind. Our team has a number in mind if they don't reach that. And he gets an astronomical offer from another team in restricted free agency. And the Jazz say, yeah, you know what? We're not going to match that. Outside of that, the Jazz are going to bring in Keontae George next year. We're going to have Ace Bailey, assuming we have a top lottery pick, Lauri Markkanen at 3, Jaren Jackson Jr. at the 4, Walker Kessler at the 5, assuming we retain him in restricted free agency. That is a competitive lineup. I'm not going to say it's going to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Denver Nuggets in the West, or even the San Antonio Spurs. But guess what? It's competitive. It's fun to watch, and I am here for it. Oh, and guess what? Jaren Jackson Jr. is 26 years old. Ace Bailey's super young. He's still a kid. Keontae George, I'm pretty sure, is like 21, 22. Like, this is like what the Thunder, of having their core where they had Chet, J-Dub, and Shea, and they paid $822 million to, right? That's what the Jazz are creating too, about that too, with our Keontae George, with our Ace Bailey, with whoever we get in this deadline. And then we have Jaren Jackson Jr., and we have Lauri Markkanen too. This is still a young core. Yes, I know we're expensive now, but this is a young core that can grow together and can be competitive in a competitive West. I love it as a Jazz fan. As someone we've not been competitive, we've sat back and we've been booty cheeks for 3 years. So I love the aggressive move. I think we can be competitive next year. And then there's been a lot of speculation about how we are going to finish out this year specifically, right? Because obviously our pick is top 8 protected. Right now we have the 6th best odds, right? Let's say I sim this one time. We fall to 7. We still keep our pick, right? I'm going to do this 5 times. Oh, you guys can't see what I'm doing, right? In this one, we keep 6. This one, we fall to 7. This one, we fall to 8. Still keep that one, though. This one, 8. This one, 6. I just did it 5 times. We 6, 7, 6, 8, 6. It was something like that. The only thing that's like tricky, and I've heard a lot of things on it, is people say the Jazz are going to want to start winning now because we have Jaren Jackson Jr. and he's healthy. And people say like they might just do what the Wizards did with Trae Young, and he's has his quad that he's just gonna do whatever he's doing to be fully healthy for next year. The Jazz are already bad enough that we can continue to play Jaren Jackson Jr. and still lose. Hell, if anything, we'll put him on a minutes restriction. But I genuinely don't think. Like, I've heard some things saying there's going to be, like, an astronomical amount of tanking going on, which I do agree with. I do think there is going to be some astronomical tanking between the Pacers, between the Jazz, between the Clippers. And mind you, let me stop here. Adam Silver, please do fucking something. Okay, anyhow, he's got to fix this. But there's going to be, I do agree that there's going to be some astronomical tanking. But I don't think it's going to be hard for, like, the Jazz to win. Like, I think the Jazz still will, because they're still going to go out, and I know they're not going to play Keontae George, Lauri Markkanen, and Jaren Jackson Jr. every night. We already know that because they put Keontae on for rest. Heck, Lauri was sick for like 2 weeks. Like they're still going to continue. They know how important this pick is. I think they're going to continue to play Jaren Jackson Jr. because they have to play him because he's healthy. But he's going to be on a minutes restriction. It's going to kind of be like the Portland Trailblazers. I mean, I don't want to bring Chauncey Billups into this with all that, what's going on. But, like, there was times Chauncey Billups would pull his guys out in the fourth quarter and lead. I alleged that was for other reasons and stuff like this. But, like, we can do it in that. Like, hey, you know what? Jaren Jackson, go out, ball out for 3 quarters. In the fourth quarter, you might not play if it's a close game or something like that. Because we need this pick. I mean, we will still have a competitive team if we go into a next year with that. If it's a Keontae George and Ace Bailey, and then our roster we have next year. But the thing about Utah is we don't get anybody through free agency, right? The biggest name we've signed over the past couple of years was Bogdan Bogdanovic when we gave him 4 years, $72 million. That was during the Mitchell Gobert era. Like, that was a fun time, but like outside of that, we traded for the rights to Donovan Mitchell on draft night. We traded for the rights to Rudy Gobert on draft night. Like, all these other things is trades, right? So we traded for Jaren Jackson Jr. Like, that is the way we got to do it. And then draft. We have to draft, and we have to hit on this draft. I love this move by the Jazz. I still think we're going to bottom out. I still think we'll get a top lottery pick. And the other thing, too, like, I don't think the Jazz are too worried about, because last year the Jazz had the worst record in all of basketball, right? And what did it get them? It got them the 5th overall pick. They took tanking to a whole new level last year, and they were almost unrewarded with it, right? I mean, obviously it worked out by us getting Ace Bailey with the 5th overall pick, but like we almost wasn't rewarded for tanking as bad as we did, or we could have been rewarded for tanking too bad, as whatever way you want to look at it, right? I think this year they realized that and say, hey, you know what? We still can. The Mavericks went from the 11th best odds to winning the lottery. And that's like, we can go out and we can play semi-good basketball, and it's literally the lottery odds. As long as we stay within top 8, top 5 ideally, but as long as we stay within top 8 to keep our pick, it's the lottery odds up to that point. And I just ran this lottery 5 times, and we don't fall out the top 8. So as long as we stay within winning 10 more games for the next, throughout the rest of the year or whatever, I don't think those odds are going to drop too crazy to where we drop and don't get our pick, and then where maybe we get the luck of the lottery gods and we jump higher to 7, to 6, to 5, to 4, to 3, to 2, to 1. Could you imagine? And bro, also, while we're on the topic of this, shout out Washington, because Washington is doing the exact same thing Utah's doing, but they're doing it better because they're in the Eastern Conference side of things, and the Eastern Conference is trash, right? Like, next year, Washington can be a scary team because, okay, well, dude, I'll talk about this in my NBA trade deadline one, but like next year, Washington can be a scary team because you're going to have Trae Young, you're going to have a top lottery pick, and then you're going to have Anthony Davis, you're going to have Alex Sarr. Like, that team is going to be fun and competitive in the weak East, mind you, the weak East. Also, really quickly, can we shout out the Pacers? Because the Pacers just made a trade for Zubac. And obviously the Pacers are like the worst team in basketball this year, trying to get a top lottery pick, right? Here's the risk that they took with that trade, though, because it's 1 through 4 protected through the Pacers, 5 through 9 if it's the Clippers, and then 9 through 30 if it's the Pacers, right? Pacers are kind of hoping that they can luck out, and they're hoping it's 1 through 4, right? And then they can come back, have a top lottery pick, 1 through 4, Tyrese healthy next year, Pascal Siakam, and Zoo. Like, oh my God, the Pacers might be cooking too. That's pretty elite. But y'all, this NBA trade deadline was lit. I love the moves by the Jazz. I think we needed to do something to be competitive. It's been so long. Like I said, it's been 4 years. And we did a couple other things. Here's everything we did. We acquired Jaren Jackson Jr., Vince Williams Jr., John Konchar, Jock Landau, which we later traded, Lonzo Ball, which we later waived, Chris Boucher, which we later waived. And then we gave away, I'm pretty sure we gave away 2 second-round picks to the Cavs to get Lonzo Ball. And then obviously waived him, right? And then in giving so, we gave away the 3 first-round picks to the Grizzlies. We gave away Walter Clayton Jr., Taylor Hendricks, Kyle Anderson, and Georges Niang to the Grizzlies. I'm excited for our new roster. Like I said, I think it's going to be a lot of the same this year. I still think the Jazz are going to be a fun team. Go out there, obviously going to look better with Jaren Jackson Jr., but I still don't think we're going to win much. And I think we have the lottery luck in our sides, but only time will tell with that. Absolutely love this move for Utah, though. And tune into my next video, guys. I'll probably drop one. I'll probably make it tomorrow, let's be honest, but you guys probably won't see it till next week. Haha, just kidding. But I will make one with the NBA trade deadline. Get that posted before it's too irrelevant. But I wanted to split those ones up, not make too long of a video. This is stuff that excites me. Content, basketball, sports, obviously stuff like that. So I'm excited to get back into this grind. Like I said, I'm not going to make a full commitment to YouTube. YouTube is going to be very sporadic. It's going to be all over the place, but I can make a commitment. I can't say daily, but I am going to be posting pretty frequently on TikTok. So if you guys aren't following the TikTok, it's at Hands Down Podcast on TikTok. Follow me there. Yap session over. I appreciate you guys for tuning in to this week's episode. Like I said, guys, I know this episode was different and I was kind of all over the place, but that's one thing about me. I'm very goofy. I'm very all over the place. I'm not going to apologize for that. That's just who I am. But I'm a very blunt person, and that's just how I'm going to be. I'm going to be transparent with you guys. But that's one thing I'm also going to open up about. I'm ready to not be so hard on myself. Like I said, with high expectations and commitments and just wanting the best product out there. Obviously, I know I want that for YouTube and whatnot. But sometimes that's not just realistic, and I gotta be like, if I want realistic results, I gotta provide realistic results. I can't just be in my mind saying, I want this, I want this, I want this. if I want, like, that's not gonna ever get me anywhere. I gotta do. So this has kind of been all over the place, but that's my commitment. I'm ready to do more. I'm ready to take this to be different with it. You know, like, I've always wanted to have fun with it, do something with it. That's what I'm going to do. Like I said, YouTube's going to be all over the place. It's going to be sporadic, but the TikTok is about to go crazy. So like I said, if y'all aren't following the TikTok at Hands Down Pod, you're going to see all my reactions to anything sport related. Baseball's coming up, gonna be talking hella baseball, and in like 10 minutes I'm gonna go watch the NFL honors, so maybe you'll see some reactions on there. But if you guys do want to interact with me more on a day-to-day basis, go follow the TikTok. And then as for the YouTube, it's gonna be on when there's topics like this. NBA trade deadline, Jazz making trade, MLB's coming up. Obviously I want to talk about that. The World Baseball Classic's coming up. There's things I do want to talk about, and I will talk about in that sense, but I just can't commit to giving you guys weekly episodes where I'm making content that's not worth my while and worth your time. So I do want to give you guys product that's worth it and worth my time. So that's what I'm going to try to do. But YouTube's going to be sporadic. TikTok is going to be crazy. Follow the TikTok. I'm happy to be back, y'all. And yap session over. Deuces.